Okay, we're going to install a Scion stereo into my 2000 Toyota 4Runner. So the first thing you want to do is turn the ignition on. I put a brick behind the rear tire so I don't roll backwards, but move this out of the way. You take this benzol here, and if you pull it up from the back side, it pops up. Move this out of your way, and then here I usually take out this but you don't have to, it's not in your way. But then just pull right down here, and this pops, and then just work your way up, and this will all pop out, and then come over to this side, do the same thing. You're gonna pull it all out like that, and you don't have to take apart all this, you can just move it out of your way. If you just move this down, this will move up and out of the way. It gives you enough movement that you can kind of shove it out of the way. Sorry, I gotta use two hands here. You just need this bottom one to go underneath it. There. Okay. So, here's the inside. You can disconnect these wires if you want. I didn't feel like doing all that. But if you take a 5/16 nut driver, this one has a magnetic end. There's 4 screws. There's one here, here, one here, and here. So, turn the key back off though too, so all the stereo power's off and everything. So you pull off these 4 screws, and with this being magnetic, it'll stay right on your tool. And I just used the cup holder, this other cup holder here, to hold the screws. And on the 4Runner, the 2000, I think it's 98 through 2002, the stereo has an external amplifier, and that's located down here underneath. You'll see it's a little silver box. Now, to get the other 2 screws, I got this thing pushed out of the way. You just kind of feed this through there and take them off there. Sorry for the lack of lighting. I'm in my garage, and I guess I could open the sunroof. Gives a little bit more, but not much. So take out these other 2 screws, and the magnetic nut driver really helps a lot. You can also use a Phillips screwdriver, but I just like a nut driver. It's a more positive connection on the screw, and the Phillips magnetics don't work really good like the nut drivers do. Okay, so we got all 4 screws out. Now you're just going to pull on the head unit, and what's nice is Toyota gives you actually a lot of room. Flip this down, and then I like to take a mini screwdriver, and there's a little pin on the top of here with a hole that fits the screwdriver perfectly. If you push it in and pull up at the same time, it just pops these out. So those 2 are out, and those 2 go to, one goes to the amplifier. You can see the amplifier down in there. It's going right to that amplifier, and there's 2 more connections in there. If you're changing it over to a Scion unit, you do that. And then there's 2 antenna connections. You're just going to tape off this smaller one because it's not going to be used in the Scion. So take the head unit out, and there you go. And you're going to just transfer these side brackets over to the Scion unit. So there's the amplifier right there. You can remove it or you can leave it in there, but that has the wires on it that will connect to the Scion radio. Pull the wires off of that amplifier, are because those wires will fit directly into the back of your Scion. Alright, I'm just going to use my other hand here and grab this out. And then we got this other one over here. Pull that one out. And now the amplifier will come right out. And when you look on the back of the amplifier, you've got two more connectors, and these connectors will directly fit into your Scion. So we're going to pull those out. One there, and one there. And again, that little screwdriver trick works great. So we're removing this amplifier, and now you've got these two connections and this connection. So here's our Scion stereo. I'm using this is a 1809, and there's the back of it, and this has the RCA cables. Okay, so we've got the Scion radio here. See how I can do this and still allow you to see. Here's a close picture of the two. Here's the amplifier, and here's the Scion. Okay. There's a little mark on these wires where that piece goes in, so you can only put them in one way. All right, there's one connector. There's two connectors, and I just heard it power on. Okay. Right now I'm not going to put all the mounts on. I just want to see if this thing's going to work. Okay, so we got the new stereo in, and what you want to do, let me see here. We just installed this, and you just want to hit the power button right here, and it should turn on. Let's see if it works. Okay, it came on. Now, if you turn on your headlights, it will start up, and I've got to read the instructions. So I'm not sure how to change the color yet, but there you have it. Now what we got to do still is we got to take these brackets off of here, and if you look, this bracket goes over the face of this a little bit. If you want, you can take a grinder and grind that down, because on the, you don't have to though, it'll go on. Again, use the nut driver that has the capability of a magnet in it. Take off these four. Now I'm going to reinstall the amp from the original stereo, just so it's still with this vehicle if someone ever decides to put it back. So you'll see there's little pins in here. There's 4 of them, and those line up with these, and this can be mounted a bunch of different ways, but you can see it sets right in there when you line it up. It's the same way. Well, this, pull it out and then flip it over here, and since this is the right side, we're gonna put this over here, and you'll see it doesn't really want to go right up against there because that piece, but if you just push it a little bit, it will go. So I've got to use 2 hands to do this, so I'm going to set this down again. Okay, I've got it pressed in there. Let's get my first screw started. And again, you can shave down that front piece if it's too difficult for you to get in there. But I'll show you in just a second what I'm talking about. Okay, this piece right here kind of bumps the front of it. So if you shave that down a little bit, it'll be out of your way. The other thing we're going to have to do is this faceplate on this stereo is larger than the opening on the 4Runner. So a lot of people have videos on shaving that thing down. I'm going to see what happens if I don't do anything and just try to put this thing in here. Got one more screw to put in. Make sure these are all tight. Okay. So now we're going to put this back. Whoops. Pretty decent sized gap. I'm going to put in these top screws and see where we're at. We got this in here. I didn't have to use any spacers. I just had to look at it a little better. I think I had a wire stuck up there. But now I want to show you when I put this face on the difference in the size of the screen. So there you go. There you can see the difference in the size of the screen. It's a much bigger display. So I'm going to have to cut some of that out in order to get this thing to fit in there. You can see the top's okay, but the sides are not. We've got to take off a little bit on the sides. So we'll get to that, and then we should be good. And I hope you've gotten some information out of this. I'm going to put that amplifier back. Alright, thanks for watching.